Now we can proceed to the next slide, which is an overview of this event's program. We will start with an overview of the Renew Southeast Asia project, as well as the 100% renewables cities and regions network. Next, we will be sharing commitment messages to the Renew Southeast Asia project from the leaders of local governments involved in this project. We will also introduce the Transformative Actions Program led by ICLEI through a brief overview. After the commitment messages and overview of the Transformative Actions Program, we will then proceed with a plenary discussion where we will be joined by experts from the region to discuss the topic Sustainable Energy Transition among Southeast Asian Local Government. After the plenary discussion, we will close the event with a wrap-up to summarize the event and share with you as well the next steps forward. So with all of these lined up, I believe it's time to begin our exciting discussions, starting with the overview of the Renew Southeast Asia project. To give the overview of the project, as well as the 100% Renewable Cities and Regions Network, please join me in welcoming Rohit Sen, Head of Sustainable Energy at ICLEI World Secretariat.
Thank you very much, Jamila. Respected mayors, distinguished participants, friends, good afternoon and good day to you all. I would take this opportunity over the next few minutes to take you through briefly over ICLEI in the global arena and the project itself, and a bit over the 100% renewables work. Can we go to the next slide, please? As many of you know, that ICLEI is a global network with more than 2,500 local and regional governments committed to sustainable urban development. ICLEI is working in more than 125 countries where we influence sustainable policy and drive the local action for zero emission, nature-based, and equitable, resilient, and circular development pathways. Can we go to the next slide, please? We have more than 24 offices around the world, with regional offices consisting of secretariats, country offices, and project offices. Can we go to the next slide? This is the network map of ICLEI, where we are serving various local and regional governments around the world, where it's a mix of the members and the local governments that are in our network. Can you go to the next slide, please? So coming to setting the scene for sustainable energy transition, where we see as sustainable energy transition based on renewables and energy efficiency and energy conservation as the cornerstone to many of the campaigns, to many of the goals, targets around the world, whether it is the SDGs, whether it is the green recovery, whether it is NDCs, climate neutrality, net zeros, and so on. We see that decarbonizing the energy supply through renewables is one of the main action points to deploying socially and environmentally conscious processes ahead for the transition that we need moving to achieve our targets for climate neutrality and net zero. Renewables can not only help enhance our climate adaptation and resilience efforts, but also help us develop our energy security and energy independence, especially at the local and subnational level. Zero emissions from sustainable energy, reducing greenhouse gases as well as pollutants, is very much a proven fact. And transitioning towards the sustainable energy system is a cornerstone. This is something that we have already mentioned, and this is what we will try to focus on for this project that we have. Next slide, please. Now, bringing down renewables and energy efficiency and the sustainable energy transition at the local level for local and regional governments, we see that cities and regions can lead the way for this renewables-based energy transition because they have a unique position and an authority on multiple things, whether it is setting local city targets, whether it is looking at building codes, whether it is looking at the heating and cooling requirements, how much of energy efficiencies are needed in buildings to how much of energy conservations can be attained at the local level. This all influences not just the local economy, looking at green jobs, but also supports reducing pollution and GHG emissions at local level. In other words, supporting the SDGs and the NDCs by the national government of that particular country. Go to the next slide, please. Now, looking at the Southeast Asia region, we have seen the energy landscape is heavily dependent on fossil fuels. Focusing on Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, we have seen that the energy supplies are still dominated by coal, oil, and natural gas. The renewable energy sector itself is going through development, but still needs to pick up a lot of pace, and we need to have a fast and fair transition. And we've seen that even though there is abundant of and diverse renewable energy sources and the potential in Southeast Asian region and the countries, but somehow there is a lack in political commitment, and therefore the ambition targets simply can be raised further up. Looking at the political or the policy environment, and enabling policy environment is necessary for this transition. And of course, that would help us also access to finance, which is a problem and a concern across in the region for all projects, from infrastructure to planning to strategizing and so on. Looking at this, can we go to the next slide, please? Looking at this, we have the Renew Southeast Asia project, where the objective is to empower local and regional governments to drive the sustainable energy transition and to scale up renewable energy and improve energy efficiency at the local level. We will be focusing with this project in 3 countries of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, where we will have 2 forms of city or regions or local governments associated with us. The first one will be deep dive cities, where customized resources, visibility, peer exchanges, and networking opportunities would be there. We have Yogyakarta from Indonesia, Hang Tuah Jaya from Malaysia, and Chiang Mai from Thailand, who have graciously accepted to be the deep dive cities and committed for the local energy transition in their cities. We are looking at also granting access to networking cities, and this is open to all local and regional governments in the ICLEI network and beyond. Can we go to the next slide, please? Some of the benefits joining the Renew network we can see is access to shared resources, participation in the project events and webinars, knowledge sharing and capacity building, networking and collaboration opportunities, access to our community of practice, information on funding and access to finance through various partnership opportunities, and contribution to regional and global climate goals. Next slide, please. Speaking of the capacity building, the deep dive cities will benefit from targeted capacity building training workshops. Network cities are welcome to attend. Some of the potential topics that we have highlighted so far are renewable energy planning, solar photovoltaics, energy efficiency, clean cooking, energy conservation, looking at various renewable energy technologies and the policies around it, how project development and project planning can be done for renewable energy and energy projects, and of course, access to finance. That is one of the key points. Next slide, please. So looking at this project and how it would evolve over the next months of over the year, in 2024 and 2025, we at the moment are starting the project with this kickoff, which will later on lead in the month of October, a virtual serious games workshop. I request all of you to attend. It's going to be very interesting, which gives you an interesting look into how one can try and develop and strategize for their local energy transition, looking at various mechanisms and stakeholders and so on. Further, we will have capacity building trainings based on various assessments that are going on or has been done. Peer exchanges would be picked up towards the last quarter of this year and the first quarter of next year. And of course, we will be looking at multi-level governance, and dialogues will be held between national governments of these countries and also local governments, which will be further supported by policy recommendations. Next slide, please. Knowledge products that we are looking at, and for all cities and regions will have access to all of them. Some of the topics that will be tailored, and some which would have a generic impact on and need for all. And the topics that we have identified so far are looking at sustainable public procurement for climate and energy projects, some of renewable energy fact sheets, and looking at permitting best practices for sustainable energy projects, community energy and crowdfunding, looking at how renewables and local energy transitions can be integrated into local urban development, a policy brief for Malaysia on multi-level governments, and the same for Indonesia and Thailand. Next slide, please. Now, looking at the project, how this would be further benefited from the ICLEI's flagship work on 100% renewables. There we already have a good number of cities and regions, local subnational governments who are working with us, where we are supporting them with developing roadmaps on 100% renewables. We are trying to give them assistance on local policy development, and also enabling access for their bankable or ready to finance projects through various funders, investors. Later on, TAP will be talked about. So that is one of our also flagship initiatives. And most important, that we are supporting them to foster multi-level governance and strengthen capacities of key stakeholders at the local level. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the initiatives that we have on 100% renewables is the Energy Compact and the network. The aim of both is to support renewable energy transition in cities, towns, regions across the globe, expanding and extending the support offer from 100% renewables roadmap project that is funded by the German government. This opportunity is completely open to all ICLEI network cities and regions, and also beyond. And joining is also free. There is a very simple process. If you are interested, please do send us an email and the contact that you see below. Next slide, please. Just to give a clarification or creating a better understanding on how the 100% renewables initiatives, the network and the Energy Compact are related. It is more that the network serves as for startups, as a place where you can come and build and plan. And once you are done with this incubation period and are ready to go out and put in projects and act and create impact, that's where the Energy Compact kicks in. As I said before, this is eligible. Both the Energy Compact is automatically eligible to all who joins the 100% RE network. The reporting is connected, as we currently do, with the CTP ICLEI track. And ICLEI looks at how certain technical support and other services can be provided both on the network and the Energy Compact, either by ICLEI or by certain partners who work with us. Can you go to the next slide, please? So over the years, months, we have produced a lot of material to support local and regional governments, whether it is case studies, whether it is knowledge products, whether it is fact sheets, and creating virtual exchanges, peer exchanges, and so on. And we hope that this benefits all who work on this Renew project, as well as those who then join the 100% RE initiatives by ICLEI. Next slide, please. So, thank you very much, and congratulations and well done to all participating in the project and those who are pushing for this initiative. Please feel free to contact our colleagues from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, and for any inquiries. For any queries or questions, feel free to, on 100% renewables, feel free to send us an email. With that, I thank you and I hand over back to you, Jamila. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rohit, for that overview of the Renew Southeast Asia project and the 100% Renewable Cities and Regions Network. So from that overview, we can see that both the project and the network is founded on the importance of collaboration and knowledge exchange. And in this project launch, we are happy to share that the local governments involved in the project have expressed their commitment. So up next are the commitment messages from the leaders of the local governments involved in the project, with the first message being a recorded video from Datin Sapia Binti Haron, the mayor of Hang Tuah Jaya in Malaysia, and also the ICLEI Sustainable Energy Transition Portfolio Holding. But we have another local government that shared their commitment also to the project, which is Chiang Mai, Thailand. The commitment message of Chiang Mai will be read by Trinawat Suwanprik, the local coordinator for the Chiang Mai Smart City Initiative, representing the Chiang Mai Mayor Asani Buranupakorn. Please join me in welcoming Trinawat.
Thank you, Jamila. And hello, everyone. My name is Trinawat Swanpik from Chiang Mai Municipality, and I'm very sorry for our mayor, Mr. Asani Buranupakorn, because right now we have the problem with the monsoon and a storm in some part of the city, and he very quickly to go to the site visit. So, but actually, he gave me for his personal statement, and I would like to read his statement to of the audience right now. So, my name is Asani Buranupakorn. Would like to extend my sincere gratitude to ICLEI Southeast Asia for granting Chiang Mai Municipality the opportunity to participate in the vital development of sustainable energy transition in Southeast Asia. We are honored to be a part of these initiatives, which align with our commitment to address long-term climate change in a meaningful and sustainable way. I fully support the city involved in this project as they work toward reducing energy consumption and shifting to renewable and efficient energy sources. By embracing renewable energy, we aim to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and contribute to the goal effort to achieving the target set forth in the Paris Agreement. Chiang Mai Municipality is eager to continue supporting the renewable in Southeast Asia project, which is mobilized and empowers subnational government across the region for sustainable energy transition. We believe that through collaboration and innovation, we can build a more resilient, low carbon future for our city and beyond. Thank you once again for this important opportunity. Thank you. This is the message from our mayor, Mr. Asani Buranupakorn, Mayor of Chiang Mai Municipality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chiang Mai, for that commitment message. Once again, we will hear from the Hang Tuah Jaya for their commitment message.
Mayor for Hang Tuah Jaya City Council and Global for Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sapia Harun. Good day to all of you. I am here today as a mayor for Hang Tuah Jaya City Council and global portfolio holder for the sustainable energy transition. It is my honor to speak on the capacity of sustainable energy transition portfolio and to share with you our vision of a sustainable energy transition on the way to achieving net zero emission. It is a great pleasure that my city, Hang Tuah Jaya, was selected as one of the deep dive city for the Renew Sea project funded by the Tara Climate Foundation. This is a part of our journey towards a sustainable future. The energy demands in cities and regions in developing countries continues to rise rapidly. More than 78% of the world energy is used in the cities, and it is directly contributed to the greenhouse gas emission. By this situation, it's shown that action at the city and regional level can be a powerful driver of change. Let me share some our experience related to renewable energy and energy transition program in Malaysia and city of Hang Tuah Jaya. Malaysia federal government has launched the National Energy Transition Roadmap, a strategic plan to help Malaysia transition to more sustainable and environmentally friendly energy sources, adapting to a low carbon economy and achieve a net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050, with the goal of reaching 70% renewable energy capacity by 2050. At the local level, the Melaka State and Hang Tuah Jaya City is parallel with the federal government, has set a target and committed to increase its renewable energy capacity by generating 300 megawatt of renewable energy by 2025 through the Melaka Maju Jaya 2035 strategic plan and Smart Melaka Blueprint 2035. Several schemes was introduced at a federal level to support this energy transition program, such as feed tariff, large-scale solar, net energy metering scheme, and self-consumption. Hang Tuah Jaya is one of the pioneer local government in Malaysia to involve in the Smart Grid Technologies project with an aim to spearhead in Smart City initiative. The Smart Grid demonstration project was launched on September 15, 2020, funded under Global Environmental Facilities and coordinated under UNIDO. The Smart Grid Technologies allow for a more efficient and reliable distribution of electricity, reducing energy waste and ensuring a more sustainable energy future for Melaka. I believe that the Renew Sea project can substitute the effort that we are doing. Raise the capacities not just in my city, but hopefully also those in the state of Melaka, and extending a just transition to renewable energy and energy efficiency. This will further increase our ambition and scale up renewable energy deployment. Hang Tuah Jaya as a dedicated member of ICLEI and my role as the Global Executive Committee Sustainable Energy Transition Portfolio Holder, I full commit supporting ICLEI and the Renew Sea project to attain this objective. I intend to sustain the work done with hope of renewed support from Tara Foundation even after the project timeline. Thank you and terima kasih.
Thank you, Hang Tuah Jaya, for that commitment message and for sharing some of your sustainable energy initiatives. So now that we have heard from Hang Tuah Jaya and also Chiang Mai, Thailand, lastly, we have the commitment message of Anna Rina Herbranti, head of the Yogyakarta Energy Agency, representing the governor of Yogyakarta, Indonesia, Sri Sultan Hamengkubuwono X. We will now play the recorded commitment message.
This program is very relevant to the Indonesian government's plans to achieve net zero emissions by 2060 and prevent the impacts of climate change, especially in Yogyakarta. The special region of Yogyakarta government will commit to contributing to achieve this target. Through this program, we will try to be actively involved in exchanging knowledge or experience and supporting collaboration to realize sustainable clean energy.
Thank you, Yogyakarta, and once again, thank you to all the local governments that pledged their commitment to be part of the Renew Southeast Asia project. We've heard from the commitment messages, again, the importance of collaboration and innovation and similar initiatives at the local level having the power to drive important change. And part of the Renew Southeast Asia project is realizing innovative financing solutions to help achieve the transition to renewable energy. One example of an innovative financing solution is the Transformative Actions Program, or TAP, an international program led by ICLEI. To introduce the program, we have a recorded video message from Ricardo Marfiga Jr., the Membership, Governance, and Circular Economy Manager of ICLEI Southeast Asia. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. I'll just share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. Again, I'm Ricardo Marfiga Jr. from ICLEI Southeast Asia Secretariat, and I'm going to present about the Transformative Actions Program, or TAP. The TAP is managed by the Innovative Finance team from the ICLEI World Secretariat, and its mission is to enable subnational governments to access finance to scale up local climate action and SDG action, accelerating sustainable development towards zero emissions, enhanced resilience, and just transition, and supporting the global, national, and local ambitions through transformative infrastructure projects. So there's an emphasis of infrastructure here, as we are only accepting infrastructure applications for your projects. The top activities are, of course, in the top pipeline are the subnational priorities, place-based and people-centered and demand-driven projects. It is also a project preparation facility with tailored services to guide project development to achieve maturity and finance readiness. It is also an advocacy instrument by presenting the demand and diversity of priority subnational projects seeking support and finance. And this and more information you can see about TAP by accessing to the TAP website, the tap-potential.org. These are our top partners from the different funding and investment agencies and organizations like the UN Capital Development Fund, the European Investment Bank, Felicity, the GIB, to the different expert institutions, as well as networks and alliances like the C40, UCLG, the GCOM, and of course the 100% RE. Since the beginning of TAP in 2015, we already received 437 public project applications, 39 projects tapped, and developed 21 knowledge products. And as of May 2024, there are 78 projects in the pipeline with an estimate of 1.4 billion investment potential. And these projects come from 35 countries, from 8 different regions. And from last year, we received a total of 81 applications. And hopefully this year, we receive more applications from the subnational government. The highest number of applicants comes from Africa with 36 projects, followed by South America with 15, and then 9 in Southeast Asia, and Mexico, South Asia, Europe, and North America round off the other project applications. So in Southeast Asia, the 9 projects, the 5 actually comes from Indonesia with 2 from Jakarta, Jambi, Mataram, and 1 other city who submitted the project. I think that's West Nusa Tenggara, I think. And these projects, 1 energy project from Mataram, solid waste management project in Jakarta, and the transport and mobility project from Jambi. The other 2 projects, 2 projects from Lao, and 2 other projects in Vietnam. By sector, this is how the top applications were divided. So the most sector we received project from is from energy, with 19 applications, followed by the waste, and then transport and mobility with 13, and then the biodiversity and nature-based solutions with 12. However, the value of this project per sector, the most chunk, almost 50% of those in value comes from the transport and mobility sector. The energy sector only received a value of 76.4 million euros. That is because the projects in the energy sector mostly comes from the pilot projects, energy pilot projects, as well as solar PV installations in select government buildings and institutions. And this is how the application process is for TAP. So first, you have the project mobilization, where we promote the projects and where you submit your project application. Next is we do the screening, where we see the eligibility criteria and the completeness of your applications. And then we do feedback and clarification. We ask some details, more details for your project to improve your public project application. And then we do the scoring. And if you receive less than 80% of the score, we go again with the process, with the 2, 3, and 4 process. But if you receive more than 80% of the score, then your project application will receive the top seal of approval. And once you receive the seal of approval, you can now have access to the different top services, in which we do a capacity building and technical assistance. We will be provided by the different tools, access to investors and project preparation facilities and financiers. And of course, you will have an increased international visibility, and of which sometimes we conduct a venue where you can pitch your project to the investors and financiers. More on the eligibility criteria that the top project should be from the local and subnational government or your partners. It should be infrastructure project addressing climate change and SDGs. It should have a transformative impact. Transformative, that it should be ambitious, that it should avoid or reduce GHG emission, enhance resilience to climate change, and align with the local, national sustainable development priorities and SDGs. It should be inclusive, that all stakeholders should be engaged, and it should demonstrate benefits across a different population. Again, and then it should be cross-cutting, that it should use a holistic integrated approach, serve a significant percentage of population, can be scaled and replicated, and then it should optimize the use of the local resources. And then in that, any subnational authority can submit the application at any level of maturity from the conception of the project up to where the project is already matured and that it only lacks funding to be implemented. These are just more details on the steps on the pipeline, the project mobilization, where you will answer the different questions in the application form. Of course, the screening, where we put up the application against the eligibility criteria, the feedback and clarification to improve your project, and of course, the scoring, in which there's different scoring criteria and weight for the scoring, with the three main categories: the general description of the project, the transformative impact of the project, and of course, the financial viability of the project. So for a good application to receive a seal of approval, or ultimately to receive a funding, this is to quantify the climate benefits of the project, to prove the political buy-in, demonstrate alignment with local, national, and international goals. You should think in a holistic approach, list the and quantify the co-benefits of the project, and then the scalability and replicability potential of this, the potential risk and mitigation plan of the projects. For example, if there will be a change in the leadership and the local leadership, and that is one of the risks that should be mentioned. And then if there are any references available, there are existing studies or previous support for the project, and of course it should demonstrate strong stakeholder engagement. And lastly, in the application, you should be clear about what is needed to develop the project. Do you need technical assistance? Do you need more feasibility studies for it to improve? Or do you just need the funding itself? And then the funding, should it be a loan that you need, or a grant? So that should be clear in your top application. From the TAP and GAP fund, so there were 6 projects that were accepted for the GAP fund, and these are mostly from South America and Africa, and the selection of these applications was in collaboration with the GCAM consultants. So the deadline for this year will be on October 31st, next month. It's already next month, but you can still submit your application form. So you just scan the QR code here and download the forms in those languages. Unfortunately, we do not have yet the forms in Bahasa Malaysia or Bahasa Indonesia or in Thai. So we only have this in English and Spanish, French, and Portuguese. Okay, so were you able to scan the application form? Yeah, you can also just visit the website and then download the forms there. And then more financial tools that can help you with your application. So these are just some technical guides and a bankability checklist. And then the more finance opportunities, as well as other tools that can help you with your application. And that's it. So thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick, for that overview on the Transformative Actions Program and tips on how to apply. By the way, for the information of everyone, Kanak from ICLEI shared in the chat box how you can also be involved in the Renew Southeast Asia project. So if your city is interested, Kanak shared contact information and a link in the chat box. So we look forward to communicating with your city through these email addresses. At this point, we will now dive into the topic of a sustainable energy transition among Southeast Asian local governments with our plenary discussion. The discussion will be moderated by May Valdez Irong, the Regional Program Manager of ICLEI Southeast Asia. Once again, if you have any questions or comments during the discussion, please feel free to use the chat box or the Q&A feature. I will now hand over to our moderator, May, who will introduce to us our panelists and guide us through this panel discussion. Over to you, May.
Thank you, Jam. Hello, everyone. I'm May Valdez Irong from ICLEI Southeast Asia. Cities will be defining the battle in keeping global warming well below 1.5 degrees since it shapes society's patterns of consumption and production. Cities consume 78% of global greenhouse gas emissions, and it will house 68% of the world's population by 2050. 90% of new urban dwellers will live in Africa and Asia. This is why it is important to ensure that urban development in Southeast Asia will adopt an energy transition framework, which is the goal of Renew project. This afternoon, we will be hearing insights from our panelists on how each of their cities will take part in the project as they embark on the energy transition. Our panelists include Mr. Nul Dalila Binti Mod Zamri, Energy Manager of Hang Tuajaya Municipal Council in Malaysia, Mr. Hafizam Mustafa, CEO of Melaka Green Technology Corporation, Malaysia, Mr. Trinawat Suwanprik, Local Coordinator for Achieving Low Carbon Growth in Cities through Sustainable Urban System Management in Thailand and Chiang Mai Smart City Initiative, Smart Old Town, and Ms. Ana Rina Herbranti, Head of Energy Agency of Yogyakarta, Indonesia, as represented by Justina Ika Kurniawati, Head of Energy Division. Good afternoon to our esteemed speakers. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I will be asking one question per panelist initially. If we have time later on, we will be tackling more topics. We may also open the floor to 1 or 2 questions from the participants. So without further ado, let's begin with the questions. First, to Mr. Nur Dalila Binti Mod Zamri, and Mr. Hafizam Mustafa. The question is, so maybe one for, okay, so I'll start with Mr. Noor. Mr. Noor, what motivates you to consider joining the network, and what outcomes do you expect from this partnership? I'm sorry, Miss Noor. Very sorry. My apologies.
Okay, thank you, Miss May. For me, I'm thinking that joining the 100% renewable cities and region network will be driven by a strong commitment and sustainability and a vision for a cleaner future. By collaborating and networking with like-minded communities can amplify effort to transition to renewable energy, share best practice, and tackle climate challenge collectively. The opportunity to the learning from the successful case study and adapting proven strategy and inspire others towards sustainability paths will be incredibly motivating us. That's for me, it's a potential for the positive social and economic impact in the community makes it appealing initiative to be a part of this 100% renewable cities and region network.
Thank you so much, Miss Noor. And now the second question to Mr. Hafizam. The question is, how do you think the network can help your city overcome barriers to renewable energy adoption?
Good afternoon, everyone. So for Malacca Green Technology Promotion, we think that the 100 renewable cities and region network can play a pivotal role in overcoming the common challenges like cities in Malacca, for example, in transitioning to renewable energy. Barriers such as high initial capital cost, regulatory hurdles, and lack of technical expertise are significant, but they can be mitigated through collaboration and shared resources. We also foresee that the network can provide cities with access to case studies, technical guidelines, and policy frameworks that have proven effective elsewhere. By fostering an environment, knowledge sharing, and collaborative problem solving, the network can assist in addressing key challenges such as securing financing, navigating regulatory frameworks, and raising public awareness. And for cities that haven't yet to join this network, providing clear and compelling evidence of the benefit of membership is crucial. These cities will likely seek reassurance that joining the network leads to tangible results, including successful project case studies, access of financial and technical support, and strong political and institutional backing. Additionally, they will need confidence that the solution and strategies offered by the network are adaptable to their specific local context and challenges, enabling a smooth and effective transition to renewable energy. That's all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa. You've touched a very interesting point about collaborative problem solving, and also what Ms. Noor mentioned earlier, that the city is really looking forward to case studies, because in ICLEI, we've learned that this is the most effective way for learning within cities, peer-to-peer learning, so they can learn from one another. With that, I will now ask the third question to Mr. Trinawat Suwanprik. For those not yet part of the network, what do you think are the information or assurances they would need to join?
Thank you very much for your question. In terms of the subnational government or local agency, just like Chiang Mai municipality, we think this one is quite important for the city, because actually the city cannot sitting or standing alone, but we choose to have friends or fellows to learn from each other in different or various of category in terms of the energy consumption or energy transition. Because we cannot stand or use a single source from energy. I think right now we choose to have many or multiple sources of energy to use in the city, but okay, depend on the policy or regular framework in the city, and the I mean from the stakeholder or community engagement also, and actually we have to connect with the institution, just like a university, because actually in Chiang Mai we have I mean for two institutes. First, I think probably from the Energy Research and Development Institute from Chiang Mai University, and the second one is from ASEAN Development College for Community and Economy and Technology from Chiang Mai Ratchapat University. We are from local government, and actually we work together with the local government also. And I think ICLEI Southeast Asia Secretariat maybe just like put more energy for us to run very fast than usual. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinawat. The fourth question would be for Miss Anna Rina Herbranti. The question is, what kind of capacity building or technical assistance do you believe is necessary for your local government to advance its renewable energy goals? And are there specific areas where you would benefit from peer learning or knowledge exchange with other cities and regions? Over to you, Miss Anna.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. The first is to guarantee clarity regarding this program. The second is what target will be achieved and financing aspect that are appropriate to regional condition. Then capacity building can take the form of training, mentoring, and sharing knowledge about clean energy management and energy conservation that are suitable for implementation in Yogyakarta. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Justina Ikakurniawati. Sorry, representing Miss Anna Rina Herbranti. Thank you for those answers. I have a couple of questions here since we have time still to answer questions. So maybe you can just feel free if anyone wants to answer this. So I will not designate this question to anybody, but if you want to answer this or if you have other insights you would like to put forward, please do so. So this is the question. In many case studies, investment in renewable energy yields many socioeconomic benefits from improved air quality to green jobs. However, there is also the need to ensure that the transition would be just, which means it will not put more burden on vulnerable groups that will be affected by these policies. Because of course, when we enact certain policies, some groups will be displaced or will be negatively affected by these policies. As such, how will your city pursue a just energy transition by cautioning industries and workers in the brown industries such as coal and fossil fuel, which is more used as of the moment? Anyone would like to answer that? If there are any initiatives that your city is planning to undertake so that coal workers or those that work in the fossil fuel industry will not be very affected by the shift to renewable energy. Yes, Mr. Tinawat, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think we are in the same region in Asia Pacific or Southeast Asia. But actually, for this part, I think in Thailand, actually, we have the policy from the national governments and sent through the local government or subnational government like Chiang Mai municipality. One thing that had the impact because of right now we promote to electric vehicle. And for Chiang Mai also in dry season, we are facing of the PM 2.5 local pollution. But if we are to promote the to stop engine combustion, but use the electric vehicle, maybe the benefit to the local government who live in the city. And for the energy transition, I think maybe this period just like we change from fossil fuel to electricity in the city and in the whole country of Thailand also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Trinawat. Any other insights you would like the panelists would like to add to that? Okay, so if there are none, I will ask another question. Okay, Mr. Mustafa,
let me
please go
respond.
ahead.
Okay, for Malaysia, so basically we don't have coal in Malaysia, but instead we are import coal from elsewhere, from Indonesia particularly. But our main energy production came from mainly from natural gas and diesel, so based in petroleum. And then for time being, our RE sources came basically around 20%, but mainly from hydroelectric power plant. And for PV solar, so it's around 5% of our total energy production. In terms of, you said that it's related to the to climate, especially mainly for solar farm, we are using plantation land, or we're using open land to develop our solar farm. So it's a new initiative by Malacca State Government, especially for Malacca Green Tech, to pursue solar farm instead of using plantation land and so forth. We are using floating solar or solar rooftop. So we consider it a green transition instead of using existing open land or plantation to develop a solar farm. That's my comment.
Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Mustafa. Yes, that's a very interesting case study that instead of the plantations, you're using areas that are not used by certain industries or that would not affect the workers in those industries. Thank you for that sharing. Any other would like to add to those insights? Okay, if none, I will proceed to my next question. How can your city enjoin the public in pursuing its renewable energy targets? Would anyone like to start? How can you encourage the constituents in your respective cities or state to pursue the renewable energy targets or the would-be renewable energy targets under this project?
Okay, let me respond. So,
please go ahead.
So in Malacca, especially from as our organization, Malacca Green Technology Corporation, of course we are promoting solar installation especially for residential. So currently we are in promoting the solar residential scheme that we are offering the very it's a very affordable solar housing scheme to public, especially for residential for household. So basically for 4 kilowatt system, we offer around 15,000 ringgit. 15,000 ringgit, so they can use a credit card or loans to purchase the solar system promoted by us. Thank you.
So making renewable energy like solar more affordable for the public is your key strategy. That's very interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Trinawat, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for Chiang Mai, I think it's not maybe for renewable energy, but okay, we try to use the manpower because actually Chiang Mai is well known for the tourist city, and we have around 100 temples inside of the owner city. It means we are traveling a lot in the old town, but we are promote for a bike sharing system in the city of the Chiang Mai, and together with the rickshaw also, because we try to reduce to use the fossil fuel or energy consumption in the city level. Thank you.
That's also very interesting, using active mobility strategies in tourism to promote more climate-friendly ways of transportation. And how was the uptake so far? Did the tourists enjoy the bikes?
Yeah, I very enjoy because we have more attractive place, just like the temple inside of the city is yeah, just I mentioned before, we have nearly 100 temple. Maybe if we have a bicycle, maybe very easy for the tourists to go to around the city.
That's very interesting. It makes me curious and want to visit Chiang Mai soon. All right. So another question from the chat box. On a global and national scale, do you think there is still a neglect of integrating natural and biological sciences in administrative decision-making, especially with concerns on sustainable development and economy? Why or why not? So that was from Mr. Ezekiel Salinas. Do you think there is a neglect of integrating natural and biological sciences in decision-making? So I think the question pertains to whether policies being made are based on evidence and the sciences. Do you have insights on this? Anyone from the panel?
Okay, let me intervene. I think on the integrating natural and biological sciences in administrative decision making is mainly at the federal government. So normally at the state and under subnational and local level, we don't have that power or the authority to make that kind of decisions. It's mainly from the federal government or the national government. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa. I think there is already some ways that this is being addressed when it comes to planning at the government, whether local or national level, since we, especially in terms of developing plans for climate action, we always base it on evidence, and some of these examples could be the use of the hazard maps, satellite data, and other available ICT technologies to really determine which areas need certain interventions, which areas are prone to certain climate risks like flooding. So I think the government is geared towards that way. It's a matter of maybe the gaps in implementing this. Other insights regarding this question? I think that would be our last one. And we have a last question, and this is supposed to be answered by ICLEI. So I don't know if my colleagues, maybe Rohit or Indonesia colleagues, you have insights on this, but the question is, what opportunities do you see for collaboration among local governments in Southeast Asia to accelerate the energy transition? And how can ICLEI support these collaborative efforts? Of course, one is the Renew project, but in a more general sense, do you have other ideas on this?
Sorry, could you repeat the question once more, please?
Okay. What opportunities do you see for collaboration among local governments in Southeast Asia to accelerate the energy transition? So maybe in a broader sense, of course, Renew and what you presented earlier could really spearhead that. But are there other complementary initiatives for this that you see would benefit local governments in Southeast Asia? Please share your thoughts.
Yes, thanks for the question. Thanks, May, for the opportunity. Just to quickly mention a few opportunities. I mean, one of them was presented in my presentation with the 100% renewables initiatives that we have. From there, we are trying best to create knowledge exchange, peer exchange, a lot on technical assistance, as well as connecting to financial support. TAP was mentioned by, it's a transformative actions program was mentioned by Rick in his presentation. Apart from that, last year in COP, ICLEI also launched, and these are all global initiatives, open to all local and regional governments. So last year at COP, ICLEI launched the CHAMP initiative, which is trying to mobilize local and regional governments as well as national governments of various countries. And pushing further for multi-level action, multi-level governance, and building on multi-level partnerships. So just quickly on, there are these multiple opportunities, multiple avenues, especially on focusing on energy, not to mention previously pushed initiatives like the Race to Resilience, Race to Zero, and so on. There are also many opportunities that the GCOM is pushing and promoting. Apart from that, ICLEI at the global level as well as the regional level has multiple projects and many other campaigns where you can take part, join, and benefit from those initiatives where whether it is with respect to renewables, whether it is respect to urban heating and cooling initiatives, and so on.
Thank you so much for sharing other initiatives that complement the Renew project at the global level. And we hope to see more Southeast Asian cities coming in and joining these initiatives. Our colleagues from Indonesia, Arif, Salamat, do you have other insights?
Hey, thank you. I think it's Rohit already mentioned a lot, but I think again, very critical issues that how can we become what we call it collaboration, networking, something like that. So let's communicate between us, and then it's very easy for us to communicate among the cities, regions, and I think we have experienced quite was a good experience when we open our mind that ICLEI and other potential partners is there. So as very critical information that I think we already learned from the presentation of TAP. I think financing is very critical issues, but again, when the finance is there, but we need commitment, strong commitment from our government, from decision makers, and how can we invite them to be our networks, because ICLEI is that our main functions. We can start from different entry point. We can start from the issues on the climate change, renewable energy, waste management, and even nature-based solution. That's very good. And so many potential entry point that we can collaborate among the cities and regional government, and how to connect the national policy to local action. And I think thank you.
Thank you so much, Arif. So I think that wraps up our discussion this afternoon. Thank you so much to our panelists, and we look forward to engaging with you more as we implement the project. Over to you, Jam.
Thank you, Ms. May, for moderating that insightful discussion. And thank you again to all our panelists, to Rohit, Arif, and Rick, for also participating in our discussion. So we've heard from our panelists that cities and regions, in terms of achieving the transition to sustainable renewable energy, share similar challenges and also similar goals. With these similarities, the Renew Southeast Asia project aims to bring these local and regional governments together to facilitate collaboration, knowledge sharing, and capacity building so that sustainable energy is achievable starting at the local level. Before we conclude our event, let us all listen to the wrap-up and closing remarks from Arif Wibowo, the country manager of ICLEI Indonesia. Please join me in welcoming Arif.
Yes, thank you, Jem. Once again, good afternoon, everyone, or in every place. Good days. I think we have already started with very good what's that event today that we can kick off our project, Renew project in Southeast Asia, which is already listening some overview of the ICLEI scope of activities and then the potential collaboration among us, whether you are member or non-members. Don't worry, let's join with us in the future that we can learn a lot. We can learn from the best practices, even though there are challenges within our own location. But again, by having these networks, I think we can accelerate our, to solve the problems in our own city, our region. Again, we have very, very potential network, potential partners that we can learn among us. And is our ICLEI's experience when we have a strong commitment, so there are potential for support. As I mentioned before, that we also listened before that one of the key was the instrument of ICLEI is TAP. Yeah, TAP is one potential partner that we can, platform that we can use. Again, thank you very much for all of you, Rohit especially from ICLEI World Secretariat, and then also our panelists from Yogyakarta, from Hang Tua Jaya, from what else, Chiang Mai, and other partners of other cities in different countries in the regions. And I saw from the Nigeria as well, in India as well. I think it's very good network for us for the future collaborations. How can we strengthen our networks for win-win solution and so forth. But again, within this limited time, I would like to close this event. Thank you very much for this meeting. Thank you. And you may connect us with each of us. I think it's easy for you to connect with us. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Arif, for the closing remarks. We have officially reached the end of our program. We highly encourage everyone to please answer the survey form, which is accessible through this QR code shown on your screen and the link shared in the chat box. Certificates of attendance will be provided to those who will answer this survey. So if you're done answering this survey, can I see the word renew in the chat box? If you're done with the survey, please type in renew. Okay, we have one participant. We have 3. So while we're waiting for other participants to complete the survey form, I would like to know if the participants have any keywords that they got from the discussion that they would like to share. For me, my keyword would be friends. I really liked how that word was brought up during the discussion, and also sharing in future. We have collaboration. Okay. So I think many of the participants have already completed the survey. And thank you so much. That concludes the project launch of Renew Southeast Asia. Thank you everyone for sharing also your insights, bits and pieces of your insights in the chat box, and of course for participating in this event. Thank you all and have a great day.